You know, it's wild how something so normal, so everyday, can turn into the source of your deepest fears. My phone. It used to be my link to everyone I cared about. Now when it buzzes, my heart tries to hammer its way out of my chest. This all started 3 months ago. I'd posted a picture on social media that morning, just a quick selfie in the car before work. I was wearing this new blue shirt my sister got me for my birthday. I felt good, you know. By lunchtime, that feeling was a distant memory, replaced by this cold, creeping dread that still hasn't left me. That's when the first message came in from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown. I liked the picture you posted this morning. That blue shirt brings out your eyes. My first thought was, okay, it's a friend messing with me. Or maybe someone I gave my number to at a bar and forgot about. It was a little forward, sure, but harmless. I actually smiled, a little flattered, and was about to type back, haha, thanks. Who is this? But before I could even start, a second message buzzed through. Unknown. You should wear it more often. And just like that, the flattery soured into something else. The smile just fell off my face. There was something about how it was worded, the simple command of it, that felt wrong. It wasn't a suggestion. It felt like an order. I put my phone down on my desk, my half-eaten sandwich suddenly tasting like cardboard. I just stared at the screen, at those two little blue bubbles, and I felt this immediate, chilling sense of being watched. I really wish I could tell you I blocked the number right then and there. I wish I had trusted that first gut feeling that was screaming at me. But I didn't. I told myself I was overreacting, that it was just some weirdo, a wrong number. I had no idea that this was just the beginning. I had no idea that my own home, my sanctuary, was about to feel like a trap. Section 1. The escalation begins. For the next 2 days, nothing. My phone was quiet. The memory of those weird texts started to fade, washed out by work and just life. I really convinced myself I'd blown the whole thing way out of proportion. Just some online creep, easily ignored and forgotten. I went about my business, hit the gym, grabbed groceries, called my mom. Normal stuff. And that feeling of normalcy was so comforting. I let my guard down completely. Then, on the third night, I was at home, curled up on my sofa watching some mindless reality TV. My cat, Leo, was asleep on my lap, and I had a big bowl of popcorn next to me. It was a perfect, quiet Wednesday night. Then my phone lit up on the coffee table. Another text. Same unknown number. My heart did this little jump, a nervous flutter against my ribs. I picked it up, my thumb just hovering over the notification. Unknown. Did you get the extra butter on your popcorn tonight? I know it's your favorite. I dropped my phone. It clattered on the floor, and Leo shot off my lap with an angry hiss. My blood felt like it had turned to ice. The popcorn? I hadn't posted about it. I hadn't told a soul I was eating it. It was such a tiny, stupid detail. But it was my detail. It was happening inside my apartment, right at that moment. How in the world could they know that? My mind was racing, trying to grab onto a logical reason. Did I mention it to a coworker? No. Text a friend? I frantically scrolled through my recent messages with shaking hands. Nothing. It was impossible. I live on the 3rd floor. My blinds were drawn, well, mostly. Was someone watching me? Could they actually see through that tiny little gap in the blinds? I scrambled off the couch, my legs feeling heavy and useless. I crawled over to the window, my heart pounding a drum solo in my ears. I peeked through the sliver of an opening, holding my breath. I scanned the street below, the parking lot, the windows of the building across from me. Nothing. Just a few cars, a kid walking a dog, the warm glow from other people's apartments. No one was just standing there staring up. There was no one sitting in a car, watching. But the feeling of being watched was so intense it felt physical, like a hand was pressing down on my chest. I felt so completely powerless. I realized this person could get to me anytime, day or night, right through the phone in my hand. There was nowhere to hide. Against my better judgment, I snatched my phone back up and typed a reply. My fingers slick with sweat. Me. Who is this? This isn't funny. I stared at the screen, waiting. Those three little dots popped up, disappeared, then came back. They were typing. The wait was agonizing. Unknown. It's not a joke. I just know you. Me. How do you know me? And how do you know what I'm doing? Unknown. I'm just observant. Observant. That word sent a fresh spike of fear right through me. This wasn't a guess. It wasn't a coincidence. This was surveillance. I thought about calling the police, but what would I even say? Someone texted me that I was eating popcorn. They'd think I was a lunatic. They wouldn't take me seriously. It wasn't a direct threat, not really. It was just creepy, insidiously, terrifyingly creepy. I called my best friend, Sarah. Her voice, which usually calms me down, didn't do much to stop the panic attack that was taking root. Just block the number, she said, all practical. It's some loser with nothing better to do. Don't even give them a reaction. But Sarah, they knew. I whispered, pacing around my living room. They knew about the popcorn. How could they know? Maybe they saw you buy it at the store, or overheard you talking about it. There are a million logical explanations. You're just jumping to the scariest one. Was I? God, I wanted to believe her. I desperately wanted a simple, non-terrifying answer. But my gut, that same gut feeling from the very first text, was telling me this was something else. This was personal. Okay, I said, trying to force some calm into my voice I definitely didn't feel. Okay, you're right, I'll block them. After we hung up, I did it. I went into my phone, found the number, and hit block this caller. A tiny wave of relief washed over me. Done. They were cut off. No more messages. I took a deep breath, cleaned up the popcorn I'd spilled, and tried to just move on. I checked the lock on my front door twice and pulled the blinds so tight not a single ray of light could get in or out. But as I lay in bed that night, sleep felt a million miles away. Every creak of the old building, every distant siren, made me jump. I felt exposed. The feeling of being watched didn't go away just because I blocked a number. If anything, it felt worse. Now, the silence was just as loud. Section 2. The direct threats. A week went by. A whole beautiful silent week. No weird texts, no creepy feelings. I started to actually breathe again. Sarah must have been right. It was just some pathetic troll who, once I blocked them, moved on. The knot of anxiety in my stomach started to unwind. I even had a real genuine laugh with my coworkers. Life was getting back to normal. Then, the next Tuesday, I was leaving work. I was walking to my car in the parking garage, just scrolling through emails, when a message banner dropped down from the top of my screen. It was a new number. Unknown. Blocking my number won't stop me from seeing you. That was a childish thing to do. I froze right there in the middle of the cold, damp garage. My own breathing sounded deafening. It was them. It had to be. But how? How did they get a new number so fast? It hit me that blocking them was useless. They could just get another number, and another, and another. My blood turned to ice. I felt a surge of pure panic. They knew I'd blocked them, and they sounded angry. My head snapped up, and I scanned the dimly lit rows of cars. Was he here? Was he watching me right now? Every shadow seemed to twist into the shape of a person. A car door slammed somewhere on a lower level, and I jumped, letting out this little choked gasp. I fumbled with my car keys, my hands shaking so badly I couldn't get the key in the lock. After what felt like forever, the door finally clicked open. I threw myself inside, slammed the lock down, and jammed the key into the ignition. I peeled out of that garage so fast my tires screamed. I was too scared to even look in my rearview mirror until I was several blocks away, terrified of what I might see. All the way home, my eyes darted between the road and the mirror. Every single pair of headlights felt like a threat. When I got back to my apartment, I didn't feel safe. My home, my refuge, now felt like a glass box. I checked every lock, looked in every closet, under the bed, even in the shower. The rational part of my brain knew this was ridiculous, but the terror had completely taken over. I was constantly on edge, jumping at every little sound. The message was still on my phone screen, a glowing reminder of my fear. I didn't know what to do. Replying felt like feeding a wild animal. Ignoring it felt like waiting for it to pounce. I chose to do nothing. I just stared at it until the screen went dark. The next message came 2 hours later. I was sitting on my floor with my back against the front door, just listening. Unknown. You look so scared. It's a shame. You're much prettier when you smile. He could see me. Right then. He could see me inside my own apartment. I couldn't breathe. I scrambled away from the door like it was on fire. How? How could he see me? I looked for cameras, for anything out of place. There was nothing. Was he looking through the peephole? I crept back toward the door and covered the peephole with my thumb, my heart hammering against my ribs. Then came the third message that night, and this one made me physically sick. Unknown. I'm tired of watching from a distance. I want to be closer. I want to hear you breathe while you sleep. I ran to the bathroom and threw up, the bile burning my throat. This had crossed a line, a serious line. This wasn't just creepy anymore. This was a direct, terrifying threat. It wasn't about watching anymore. It was about wanting to possess. It felt like a cage was being built around me, one message at a time. I finally did what I should have done a week ago. I called the police. I read the texts to the officer on the phone, my voice trembling so badly I could barely form words. He was polite, but he sounded so tired and dismissive. "Ma'am, I understand this is upsetting," he said, "but he hasn't explicitly threatened to harm you. He's just saying creepy things. It's probably a prank. We can file a report, but there isn't much we can do unless he makes a more specific threat." "Not a specific threat. I want to hear you breathe while you sleep." How was that not specific? I just felt this wave of complete despair. I was totally and completely alone in this. The law couldn't protect me. Blocking him couldn't protect me. I felt so helpless. I didn't sleep for 2 days. I just sat on my couch with a baseball bat in my lap, watching the front door, jumping at every noise. I was physically and mentally exhausted, but the adrenaline and fear kept me wide awake. I could feel myself starting to break down. I was jumpy, irritable, and constantly on the verge of tears. I stopped posting on social media, made all my accounts private, and told my boss I was sick so I could work from home. I was trying to make my world smaller, to become invisible. I just hoped that if I disappeared, he would too. For a few days, it seemed to work. The silence returned. But this time, I felt no relief. I just felt like a mouse hiding in the walls, knowing the cat was still out there, just waiting. Patiently. My entire life had shrunk to the 4 walls of my apartment, and even here I didn't feel safe. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. The fear was a constant companion, a shadow that followed me from room to room. And if this story is terrifying you as much as it terrified me to live it, and you want to support the channel, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep sharing these stories. Okay, what happened next? This is the moment my fear turned into pure, undiluted terror. This is the part that I know is going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Section 3. The Climax. After 3 days of silence, a tiny flicker of hope sparked in me. Maybe he'd finally given up. Maybe my vanishing act had actually worked. I was still terrified, don't get me wrong, but you can't live at that level of panic forever. Exhaustion was setting in, and with it, this dangerous craving to feel normal again. I decided I couldn't live like a prisoner. I needed to see a friendly face. I needed to feel safe, just for a couple of hours. I called Sarah and asked if she could please come over. The second she walked through my door, I felt this physical weight lift off my shoulders. We ordered pizza, put on a comedy, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, I actually felt peaceful. Just having her there, solid and real and unafraid, was like an anchor. "See?" she said, gesturing with a slice of pizza. "You went dark, you ignored him, and he got bored. That's all it was. Some pathetic, bored little man." I nodded, wanting so badly for her to be right. We talked for hours, not about the texts, but about work, her latest bad date, a new show she was watching. It was so blessedly, beautifully normal. Around 11, she got ready to head out. "Are you sure you're going to be okay?" she asked, her hand on the doorknob. I'll be fine, I said, forcing a smile. You were right. I feel so much better. But the moment that door clicked shut, the second I heard her footsteps fade down the hall, the fear came rushing back in. The silence in the apartment was suddenly huge and suffocating. I quickly checked the deadbolt and the chain lock on the front door. I went through the apartment, checking all the windows, making sure they were locked. My own home suddenly felt cavernous and full of dark corners. I decided to take a quick shower, hoping the hot water would calm me down. I left my phone on my bed, plugged in. I was probably in the shower for 10 minutes max, with the sound of the water blocking out everything else. When I got out, wrapped in a towel, I did feel a little more human. I walked back into my bedroom, my wet hair dripping on the carpet, and then I saw it. My phone screen was lit up. A new message, a new number. My stomach dropped to the floor. I walked toward it slowly like I was approaching a bomb. I didn't want to look. I wanted to smash the phone, throw it out the window, anything to not see what was there. But the not knowing was somehow even worse. I picked it up. It wasn't text. It was a picture, an attachment. My finger was trembling as I tapped it open. The image loaded, line by agonizing line. At first, it was just a dark shape. Then, it came into focus. It was my living room. The sofa where Sarah and I had just been sitting. The empty pizza box was still on the coffee table. The half-empty glasses of soda. But it was the angle of the picture that made my heart stop beating. It was taken from above, from the top of the short staircase that leads down from my bedroom to the living area. It was taken from inside my apartment. I couldn't breathe. My lungs just seized up. This wasn't a picture taken through a window. This wasn't a lucky guess. This was proof. Absolute, undeniable proof. While I was in the shower, he had been in my apartment, standing right at the top of my stairs, looking down at my life. He was in my house, or was he still? A wave of pure primal terror, unlike anything I have ever felt, just washed over me. It was so physical it buckled my knees. I slid down the wall and landed in a heap on the floor, the towel falling away. My eyes darted around my own bedroom, frantically searching the shadows. The closet door was slightly ajar. Was he in there? Was he under my bed? My mind was just screaming, "Run, get out, run." But my body wouldn't move. I was paralyzed. It was a total system overload. Then a second message came through. Just text this time. 6 words that are burned into my brain forever. Unknown. Next time I'll be in the picture. That's what broke the paralysis. A sound tore out of my throat that I didn't even know I could make, this raw animal scream. I scrambled to my feet, not grabbing clothes, my phone, nothing. I just ran. I fumbled with the locks on my front door, my fingers feeling like useless sausages. The chain. I couldn't get the stupid chain off. I was sobbing, just pulling at it, my nails scraping the metal. Finally, it gave way. I threw the door open and sprinted into the hallway, naked and screaming, and I didn't stop until I was banging on my neighbor's door across the hall, an elderly man named Mr. Henderson. When he opened the door and saw me, his eyes went wide with shock, but he didn't even hesitate. He just pulled me inside, wrapped me in a blanket, and called 911. This time, they came. This time, they took it seriously. The police were there in minutes. 2 officers, a man and a woman, entered my apartment with their guns drawn. I sat in Mr. Henderson's floral armchair, wrapped in a scratchy wool blanket, just shivering uncontrollably, while he tried to get me to drink some tea. I couldn't. My teeth were chattering too hard. I could hear them moving around in my apartment, their voices low and professional. It felt like an eternity, but after maybe 20 minutes, the female officer came back over. She knelt in front of me, her face a mix of pity and calm professionalism. "Ma'am," she said gently, "there's no one in there now. We've searched every room." He was gone. "We found the back window in the kitchen unlocked," she continued. "The latch looks like it was forced. Nothing seems to be stolen. Are you sure you locked it?" I just stared at her. Was I sure? I thought I was. I thought I'd checked them all. Or had I been so focused on the front door that I'd forgotten the one window that faced the fire escape? Had he been in there for hours? Days? Had he been in my home while I was sleeping? The thought was so violating that a fresh wave of sickness rolled through me. They took my phone for evidence. They took my statement. They were much more helpful this time, and they put a patrol car outside for the night. But they also told me the truth. The chances of finding someone based on a fake number and an untraceable picture were next to none. He was a ghost who had walked through my home, stood over my life, and then just vanished into thin air. I never spent another night in that apartment. I couldn't. I stayed with Sarah for 2 weeks, sleeping on her couch with all the lights on. Even there, I barely slept, haunted by that picture of my own living room, seen through his eyes. My life had been completely torn apart. I broke my lease, packed up my life with my dad and brother, and moved to a new apartment in a completely different part of the city. It's a secure building with a doorman and cameras everywhere. I have 3 new locks on my door. I keep my laptop camera covered. I never post anything online in real time. My social media is a ghost town. It's been 3 months and there have been no more messages, but the silence isn't comforting. It just feels like waiting. The police never found him. The number was a dead end, just as they predicted. He could be anyone. He could be anywhere. That's the part that gets me. The not knowing. I still feel like I'm being watched. That fear is a permanent part of me now. Sometimes when my phone buzzes with a random notification, my breath still catches, and for a split second I'm right back there, staring at a picture of my home, knowing that someone who wants to hurt me is already inside. The worst part is not having any answers. Who was he? Why me? And the most terrifying question of all, will he ever come back? I just live with the fear that one day, another message will pop up, and this time, he'll keep his promise. If you've ever gone through anything like this, please talk to someone. Don't be ashamed, and don't let anyone tell you you're overreacting. Report it, document everything, and do whatever you have to do to protect yourself. Thanks for listening. If you have a story of your own, feel free to share it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more. Stay safe out there.